Yo, homies and homies, what's going on? It's your boy RC here. Getting ready to get into this video on YouTube by the richest called 10 Women Who Were Secretly Disguised as Men. This title is just freaking hilarious. I can't wait to see who's on this list and for what reason. So hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. Remember to smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, share, follow me on Twitter at RC_reacts, follow me on Instagram at RC_reacts. Let's not waste any more time jaw jacking. Let's get into the video right now. Alright, I can't wait to get into this. Can't wait to check it out. It's gonna be some
For the
serious
longest
shit.
time, it's been a man's world.
Yeah.
Throughout history, if a woman wanted to get a job that was dominated by men, she either had to take a seat or do something extraordinary.
Be a man.
Here are 10 women who pretended
The
to
past
be men.
was so crazy. Women couldn't even get
Sarah
jobs. That was for
Edmonds.
men.
Even though
Sarah
women
Edmonds.
weren't allowed to fight in the American Civil War, that didn't stop over 400
What's her
from
name gonna be on
trying,
here?
including Sarah Edmonds.
'Cause I know
She
Liberty's
enlisted
kids. I
under
watch
the name
Liberty's
Frank
kids.
Thompson and served as a field nurse
see.
for the Union Army. She also managed to
Now,
become
Civil
a
Lim-
spy and
now,
managed
Civil
to
Livingston,
smuggle in
there's another
tons
one.
of information for the Union, taking on several different disguises and
Let's see.
personas.
What's her name?
Unfortunately, she became ill with malaria and had to abandon her post. She refused to seek medical attention because she was afraid of
Did she
being
get a
found
dishonorable
out.
discharge?
After Sarah recovered, she ditched the male clothing and she found herself in a soldiers' hospital in Washington, D.C. as a nurse,
Wow.
no longer in hiding.
That's an OG
Dorothy
right
Lawrence.
there.
Born in England in 1896, Dorothy Lawrence wanted something more in her life. When World
Yeah.
War I broke out, she wanted to serve as a journalist but was rejected because she was a woman.
That's
She
messed
traveled to
up.
France and tried to enter the combat zone as a war
correspondent, but she was
correspondent,
rejected
but was
and tried
later
to write.
arrested and later released on the order she not return.
Wow.
While in Paris, she got the help of 2 British soldiers who helped her conceal
That's
her
great.
gender
That's
and
good.
smuggled in a khaki uniform for her. Under the name Private Dennis Smith, Dorothy learned how to march and perform drills. She later revealed her identity when she landed a job as a royal engineer. She was soon arrested
Wow.
and taken back to England. She was ordered to keep her story silent so that other women wouldn't try to do the same thing she did
That's
in France.
bullshit.
Dorothy's
Okay.
story was censored
That's
by the
crazy.
media and government until the early 2000s, when her story was discovered in an archive and
And
subsequently published. JOANNE Rowling.
That shows.
Yes, the famed
That shows
author
what
of
you
the
do
Harry Potter
will eventually
franchise
come
couldn't
out.
identify herself as a woman when the first book was originally published.
Really?
JOANNE Rowling's publisher asked her to only use her initial because they were fearful that the book's target audience, young boys, would be discouraged from reading the books because they were written by a woman.
Oh,
So JOANNE
man.
chose K as her second initial after her
JK.
grandmother Kathleen,
JK
and the books
Rowling.
were published with the world thinking she was a man.
Yeah.
The charade ended up working, and she no longer has to hide her identity in order to sell books.
She's like the coolest woman in like the history of writing books, just because of the Harry Potter series.
The Bronte sisters. Today, the Bronte sisters are known to be some of the most genius authors in the history of mankind. However, in the
Yeah.
beginning of their careers, the sisters had to write under male pen names in order to get publishers and readers to pay attention to them. They wrote under the names Currer, Ellis, and Acton Bell for their first publication titled Poems, at the
Wow.
demands of their publisher, who was worried about a ruined reputation. It wasn't until 1847 when the sisters reached success and were finally able to publish under their real
That's
names.
messed up that they had to wait until they
Frances
reached
Cleland.
success to publish under
Frances
their real
Cleland was
names.
married to Elmer L. Clayton when the Civil War broke out in the United States. The couple had 3 children, and after Elmer joined the Union Army, Frances disguised herself as a man and used the name Jack Williams to enlist alongside
Wow.
her husband. To better pass off as a man, she learned how to walk like a soldier, chew tobacco, smoke, swear, and drink. Elmer died at the Battle of Stones River on December 31st, 1862, with Frances within a few feet.
Whoa.
She stepped over his body and continued the charge to enemy lines. She was eventually discharged from the Union in one of 2 ways. She either came clean a few days after Elmer's death, or she got wounded at Stones River and was discharged. Either way, she went home to her children to bury her husband.
Wow.
Dorothy Lucille Tipton.
That's messed up.
Dorothy Lucille Tipton had fallen in love with music when she was a young girl. She especially became interested
I'm
in
enjoying
jazz
this
music and
music.
took up the piano and saxophone. However, she knew she wouldn't make it into the jazz scene as a woman, so she
Really?
started posing as a man and did so under the name Billy. She
Wow.
soon had her own
That's
jazz trio
crazy.
called the Billy Tipton Trio. Dorothy took her secret to the grave and even had 3 sons.
Oh,
When Dorothy died in 1989, the doctors realized that the musician was actually a woman,
jeez,
leaving her
really?
sons and fans completely bewildered.
Her son's name.
Rena Rusty Kanakogi.
Really? That was
Born in
great.
1935 in Brooklyn,
Okay.
New York, Rena Kanakogi is considered to be one of the world's foremost judo masters. However, her start in her career was rough. In 1959, she had to pose as a man at a YMCA judo championship in New York and ended up winning. However, she had to return her gold medal after the judges found out she was a woman.
Bro.
But
For real?
Rena didn't let that stop
Really?
her. In 1962, she traveled to Tokyo to study judo and became one of the first women to join an all-male dojo. There, she
That's
met her
crazy.
husband, and the couple returned to the United States a short
But
time
interesting.
after. Kanakogi created the World's Women Judo Championship in 1980 and ended up coaching the Women's Olympic Judo team in 1988. SISA Abu Daoooh.
That's crazy, but
When
interesting.
SISA
Oh,
Abu
this is
Daoooh was in her
interesting.
early 20s, she found herself pregnant, married, and her husband dead. Because women
Wow.
were frowned upon in the workplace where she was living in Luxor, Egypt, Daoooh made the extraordinary choice to dress up as a man so that she could work outside of the house. To pass off as a man, she wore a long and wide robe, a turban, and masculine shoes. She would continue the facade for over 40 years, even after her own daughter was grown and married. After her daughter's husband could no longer work due to illness, Daoooh continued to be the breadwinner.
Wow.
In 2015, Daoooh was honored by the Social Solidarity Directorate of Luxor for being the ideal mother and woman.
Uh-huh.
KATHRINE SWITZER. KATHRINE SWITZER was a woman in the 1960s who loved running, but couldn't find a venue to run a race because women weren't allowed to compete.
What?
This was especially true for the Boston Marathon.
Wow, that is
In
crazy.
1967, KATHRINE signed up for the race as KV Switzer and ran the race wearing a sweatshirt, but that was all she did to conceal her identity. Other runners and race officials eventually realized what had happened. She was chased down by men who tried to
What?
yank her race number
Are you
off.
serious?
She eventually finished the race, thus making history in the running world. Nora Vincent. In January of 2006, Nora Vincent came forward with an incredible story. For 18 months, she lived as a man.
Wow.
She took voice lessons from a teacher at Juilliard to help her with her male voice. She wore padding to flatten her breasts and to give herself a bulge. She buzzed her hair and even had a makeup artist give her a 5 o'clock shadow.
Oh,
She
that's
renamed
crazy.
herself Ned and took on a job and even joined an all-male bowling league.
Wow.
During her time as a man, she found that she was treated differently at work and even at a car dealership when the salesman didn't take her seriously as a woman. When she returned as Ned, the salesman was much more professional and down to business.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think?
Wow, that video was just completely crazy. It's like men can prove that women are treated differently in the workplace. That car salesman didn't take that last woman seriously, but when she returned as a man, dressed up as a man, as her alter ego, she was treated more professionally and taken more seriously because he thought that she was a man. It's just crazy what women had to go through during the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. Even in the 21st century, as you've seen with that last one, that was hella crazy. Like, they had to dress up as men because they couldn't enter a war and help, like, with the, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War. And you know what? I spoke of Liberty's Kids earlier, and that's because there was this woman back in the 1700s, like in the 1770s, that joined the war, and I can't remember her name at all, so I have to go back to Wikipedia and find out. But I think y'all know who I'm talking about for those who follow history closely. Let me see. Historical characters depicted. Let me see. Deborah Sampson, that's her name. What? That was the woman's name. And she was known as Robert Shirtlift when she was in the Continental Army back in 1771, 1781, and she was honorably discharged at West Point in 1783. But what I'm saying is, if women wanted to do the shit that we did back then, they had to dress up as men, which is not right in my opinion. That's my thoughts on it. Because, I mean, men and women should be treated equally no matter what. Like, if they want to be equal in the workplace, they need to be treated equal in the workplace, because women, believe it or not, are the breadwinners in a lot of cases. Because a lot of men now don't want to step up and work. And that's the sad thing. But anyway, homies and homies, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully y'all did. Remember to smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, share, follow me on Twitter at RC_reacts, follow me on Instagram at RC Reacts. And until next time, it's your boy RC signing off. Much love. Peace.